Hi, I'm George Pearson, and in this Photoshop text effects video, we'll be doing this Photoshop glitter text effect right here. Now, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button and of course share and subscribe. You can also support my channel through Patreon. There's a link for that on the channel page. And to learn a lot more about Photoshop, look at my complete training course, and there's a link for that right down there in the description. Okay, let's get to it. We'll start off this Photoshop glitter text project with a brand new file. Let me just close this one down. Go up to File, New, and default Photoshop size right there. That's at 7 wide by 5 tall. It's landscape orientation, 300 pixels per inch, and choose Create. There we go. Let's now just fit this on screen. Looks good. Now we'll be filling this with a pattern and then doing some work to distress that pattern a little bit, and that will become the basics of the sparkle texture. So for that, go up to the paint bucket right here. Make sure it's set on pattern and not foreground. Double check your colors. Make sure that you have the defaults, black in front, white in back. If you don't, just click that little button right there. And on the patterns, I have mine set at patterns. There it is, right down there. And in here you want this one bottom left hand corner, and it's called Metal Landscape. Okay, click on that one and click in here, and there's that metal landscape thing. Now notice that there's a lot of tiling going on. This, you can really see these lines in here. We'll fix all of that. So grab the background layer, right click, and let's duplicate the layer. Layer copy, that's just fine. Choose OK. On the copied layer up here, we're going to mess this up, and we'll do that with a liquify filter. Go up to Filter, come down to Liquify. It's right there. And there's the filter. Now in here, there's a lot of options up here. We'll just be playing around with a few of these things. Set the brush size to 500. It's a good size for this. You can see, kind of see the brush size kind of peeking in right there. There it is. Pretty big size brush. Everything else can stay the same. And then just come in and push things around a little bit with this brush. I'm just going to go randomly around the whole page here. I'm not really doing anything specific, just kind of pushing in different directions. Real small moves. I'm not doing anything really big, just real small moves. Let's come down to this tool here. This is the Twirl Clockwise tool. Again, I have it set at 500 right there. And I'll just pull through a little bit like this. If you hold the Alt key down, it'll do the opposite direction. And just give it a few twirls. Again, kind of around the whole surface here. There we go. Then to our next tool, the Pucker tool. Same thing. We're still at 500. And just come in and do a few of these randomly around the page. There we go. Let's come down to our next tool. This is the Bloat tool. And once more, I'll come in, just do a few of these randomly around the page. It's really messing up that patterning. Just kind of a nice random on this one. There's also a push left. If you pull left or right and get kind of up or down movements, a little bit of this in here, but not too much. And there we go, just randomizing the look by going through these different tools and the 500 pixel on the brush size, and then choose OK. So it's kind of a messed up page. We'll now blend this into the one underneath, the layer underneath. And we'll do that blend in here using the blend modes. They're right there. There's your blend modes. And set this blend mode down here to darken, which is right there. It just kind of darkens it down. We're now seeing both patterns together with kind of a nice dark effect. Now you may see a little bit of some lines in here. Those won't show once we move on to the actual lettering. Okay, now we can go ahead and combine these together. So click on the top layer, hold the Control key down, click on the second layer, right click, and let's merge layers right there. Now I want to be able to move this thing around, and I can't do that if it's a background layer. So double click where it says background and choose OK. It converts it into a regular layer and just renames that layer 0. Now it may look a little bit soft to you in here. If it does, you can hit this with a sharpening filter. Filter, come down to sharpen, and then just do a sharpen more. Don't really care for that effect. Let's undo that one and let's try that with just the regular sharpen. That's not bad. Just one click there on the regular sharpen filter just helps that out just a little bit right there to help kind of clean things up. Okay, that's our basic patterning now for the whole project. So now let's get to work on the text. You can hide that one. And let's put a black layer in here, make a new layer right there. I'll pull this underneath that glitter layer. I'm just going to rename this layer glitter while we're at it. There we go. On this layer, let's fill this with black. Just grab the paint bucket, make sure you change the pattern back to foreground, and just fill it with black. That's our basic background in here. Now let's do our lettering. So go up to the type tool right here, and up there, little color icon, click on that, click in the middle someplace and drag it to the upper left hand corner. That's pure white. So now I have white for this, and I'm using a typeface called Cooper Standard. It's a standard typeface, and it's probably on your computer already. Just a real basic typeface, kind of just soft, kind of roundy typeface. I'm using the black italic setting on that one, and I have the point size set down here at 72 points all the way to the bottom and centered. And just click in the middle of the page someplace and type in sparkle. There we go. Click the OK check mark. Let's now resize this so it's better. So grab the Move tool, do the Control-T keyboard shortcut to bring up our control handles. Hold the Shift key down and grab a corner, and let's just stretch this out so it fits in there pretty well. Don't take it clear to the edge. Leave a little bit of space on the sides, a little less than 1 letter's width on the sides, and then pull it around and it should snap right into the center of the page just like that. Okay, there's our basic sparkle. Go back to the Move tool, apply the transformation, and we're all set. Let's make a copy of this now. Right click on the name and duplicate layer. On this one, let's call this one, I'll call it Sparkle Glitter. There we go. Comes in on top. Let's now open up our glitter effect here. Click on the glitter layer, right click where the name is, and click on Create Clipping Mask. That puts that sparkle effect inside of that sparkle letter. So there's our basic sparkle effect for the sparkle letter. So far, so good. Let's now put some blue coloration on this. We'll do it with an adjustment layer. Go up to Layer, come down to New Adjustment Layer right here, and Hue Saturation. Where it says Use Previous Layer to create clipping mask, make sure that is checked and choose OK. Now up here in the properties for this, scroll down just a little bit, and where it says Colorize, click on that, and it will then colorize that. Let's now change the colors. On the hue, set the hue number to 206. There we go. And set the saturation number right there to 62. And that gives us that nice bright blue coloration effect in there. We can then just double click on Properties tab and close the properties down. So there's our basic coloration for the sparkle effect. Now it'll look a lot better once we get our highlights on this. But let's now work on the outline border for this one. We'll do that down here on the original sparkle layer. I'm going to rename this one Sparkle Outline. There we go. On this layer, we'll apply a layer style to this. So go up to Layer, come down to Layer Style, and choose Stroke right there. Now in here, I'm going to set everything in here back to their defaults, which is kind of like that, somewhere around 3, I think, on the pixels. So it'll look somewhat like this when you first start this off, and that's the stroke. And set the size in here to 16. Come down where it says Fill Type, change this to Gradient, and where you have your gradient here, click on the gradient itself. That brings up the gradient editor. I'll set this back to the standard editor in here. Reset that, we'll do it. Okay, there's your standard set. Change this over to the metallics, which are right there, metals. Choose OK. and then choose this one right there, the gray one in the middle, and choose OK. That gives you that kind of a metal effect. Now the number in here will probably say something like 90 degrees, kind of like that. You don't want to have that. Double click where it says stroke again, bring this back up. So change the angle here to 0, which is pretty close. The type probably says linear. Change the style here down to reflected. You can leave the align with layer as is. You can leave the scaling as is. That's all fine. And that's pretty close right there. We'll make just a little bit of a tweak on this. And let's change the angle down just a bit. Put in a negative 13. Just a little bit of a rotation on the, you can kind of see the angle over here on the thumbnail. Just a little bit of a rotation, and choose OK. And there's that outlining for the sparkle lettering. We can now put in our highlights. Go clear to the top, right there. Make a new layer. Click on the new layer button. There it is. Brand new layer. Come back to our default colors and then reverse that for white. And go up to your paintbrush. There's the paintbrush. And in here, you need to load in your legacy brushes. Let me show you that. Okay, it's legacy brushes. You go up here to this little icon, come down to the very bottom where it says legacy brushes, click on that to load in the legacy brushes, which are right down here. In the legacy brushes, come down where it says assorted brushes, open that one up, and in the assorted, I'll just click down a little bit here. Quite a ways down, we have some star effects in here. Went a little bit too far. There we go. We have this one. It's called Star Small, Star Large, Starburst Small, Starburst Large. You want the Starburst Small. It comes in at 50 pixels right there. Change that to 75. And then you can close down the brush setting. So there it is. I'm going to zoom in up here just for a moment and show you something about this brush. Let me make sure I'm on the right zoom. There we go. Zoom in. Okay, back to this tool. Here it is. So it's that Starburst set at 75. If I click once, that's what I get. If I click twice, it's a little bit brighter. Click 3 times, it's even brighter. 4 times, still brighter, and 5 times. I'm staying in the same spot each time as I click that. So get a real nice bright highlight here if I click this 5 times, and that's the trick we'll be using on this one. Okay, let's just put in a new top layer here. I'm going to trash this one and make a new top layer. There we go. And we'll go back here to fit on screen and back to our brush. Now I need 5 to 7, maybe about 5 highlights in each one of these letters, just kind of randomly through the letters. Some of these can overlap onto the edges, that's fine. And then each time just tap it 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Let's go over here a little bit. I'll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do 7 on that one. It's even better. Maybe 7 clicks. And write down right over here somewhere. I think 7 clicks on this will be fine. And then just work through and put a bunch of these little highlights in here. Just clicking it 7 times each time. I'll come down, put one right on the edge. If a little bit shows off the edge, that's fine. And it's just a matter then of going through and working and putting in a few of these little highlights in here on each one of these letters. And again, come over to the edge on a few of those. That helps. And just work your way around putting in some of these little highlights. Okay, I'm going to pause the video just for a second as I finish off the rest of these letters, and then I'll bring the video right back up again once I put in those sparkles into these next letters. Okay, there we go. There's the basic little highlights, little specular highlights in here on the sparkle lettering. Let's now put in our big sparkles, and for that let's change the brush size. So let's go back up to brushes right here, open this up, and I'll set this at 200. So it's 200 pixels on that. There's our much larger brush. Go up to Window and open up brush settings as well. And here we go. I'll need this just a bit. What I care about here is this one tool right there, which is a rotational tool. Okay, on this we don't need to click it as many times. I'll be doing 3 clicks. I want to have some bright highlights on the tops of the letters and also on the bottoms of the letters. Okay, we'll go right over here. 3 clicks right there. Go over to the rotational tool and just pull it around just a little bit. Over here and 3 clicks. And then change it a bit more like that. And over here, 3 clicks. A little different spot like that. And then 3 clicks. Right on top of that one is pretty good. Spin it around again just a bit. So each time I use this, I'm giving this a little bit of a spin so that the highlights don't have their lines in the same place each time. It's a good spot right there. And just go through and catch all these tops and bottoms of the letters and add in these nice big super bright sparkles happening. There we are. So the whole trick, as you can see here, is really just this little spin that I'm doing on this, so that these don't look like I'm just copying the same highlight over each time. It has a bit of randomness to it. And the final one right there. Okay, there's our big bright sparkles on that. Okay, next I want to change the background in here. So let's come down to our background layer, right click, and let's make a copy of this layer. So duplicate layer, choose OK, and in here we'll put in a standard flare filter. So go up to filter, come down to render and flares right there. There it is, lens flare. Now at this one I have it at the default 50 to 300 zoom, brightness set at 100, and you can then move this around just by grabbing that. What you want to do is you want to pull it so it's straight across and about there, right there, so it's in about a quarter of the way maybe, and then pull it up just a little bit like that. So straight across about here, then it's up just a little bit, and that should be real close. And then choose OK. That's almost exactly where I want it actually. That's pretty good. So that looks real nice. Now once you have the layer, you can move it around a little bit if you want to get it exact. I'll just put it just over to here, just a touch right there. So it's right in behind that part of the S. Now when you move this, you'll see a little bit of an edge showing over here. Let's go ahead and fix that. I'll zoom out a little bit, hold the Alt key down. Let's zoom out a couple of notches right there. Use the Control T keyboard shortcut to bring up your control handles. Hold the Shift key down, and let's just pull the edge out here, the bottom out, until it covers the whole page again. That's all we need to do. And choose OK. There we go. Okay, back to fit on screen. Let's now colorize this so you get those nice blue colors in there. For that, we'll go back to our adjustment layer. So layer, come down to new adjustment layer, and hue saturation. Where it says use previous layer to create clipping mask, make sure that is checked. Choose OK. Up here again, look for that colorize. We're in the properties panel right there, so we're colorizing this one, and then the coloration on this is a hue right here of 193, and then a saturation right in there of 54. So it's a nice bright blue color, and there's your basic glitter text effect. I'll just double click on the properties tab and close that down. The last thing you might want to do is to be able to adjust your values over this whole thing. So go up here to the top layer. This of course is the highlights layer. Let me just rename this one in here. Highlights. And then above that one, layer, adjustment layer, levels. And where it says use previous layer, don't check that this time. So this will apply to everything. And then here you can go ahead and adjust your brightness values if you want to. You can increase your contrast or decrease your contrast. So you have that fine tuning option in here if you want to use that. I'll leave mine up just a little bit, just about 252 on the right hand side on the whites, just a bit more brightness on that, and that looks pretty good. And we'll close down properties again. So there we go. That's making this Photoshop glitter text effect. Again, just creating that kind of randomized pattern, adding in some sparkles, and you're all set. And if you had fun with this video, make sure you hit that like button and of course share. Just click on share and share through social media. Don't forget to subscribe. Support my channel through Patreon, and again there's a link for that on the channel page. And take a look at my complete training course for Photoshop, and there's a link for that right down there in the description.